morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is Monday, the 24th day of the month of October, 2025. It is Monday of the 29th week of the year, the 29th week in Ordinary Time. It is also 2 months till Christmas Eve. So just think about that. So 2 months till Christmas Eve. The liturgical year, the civil year, are quickly drawing to a close. So we've got 2 more months to get ourselves together before it becomes Christmas Eve. I am doing this reflection by myself because we've done for this set all of my friends who won me to do the reflection with me. And so today is a day off from the Franciscan School and from St. Francis Preschool. It is a day of service that the parish gives back to the community on this day. So no school for anybody today. So just me and myself doing my lowly reflection today. So on this Friday of the 29th week of the year, 29th week in Ordinary Time, here we come to a very interesting point in St. Paul's understanding even of himself. Now, again, Judaism never necessarily denied our fleshly existence, because Judaism understood that it comes into being because of God. And again, we are created in that divine image. And so there is something within this created world, in this created body, that is, of God, and we have to respect that. Now, what happens with Paul and how Greek and Roman philosophy is beginning even early on to affect the Christian movement and the proclamation of the gospel, there begins to become this sort of dichotomy between the spirit and the body. The spirit is all good, the spirit resides with God, but the body is just bad. And Paul doesn't go as far as to say the body is created by something evil, but he keeps pointing to the fact that there's something wrong with this body. And this part of the letter to the Romans, basically, he goes off on this whole kind of thing. I want to do good, but my body makes me do evil, and I have to make sure that my spirit, conquers my body and things like that. And again, if you divide the body against itself, it cannot stand. And if we divide the body into a good and bad part, we have to ask, well, who created the bad part? And if it's not God, then it has to be something else. And we know that's not true. So this is where, again, we have to make sure that we are truly understanding Paul and where it is that he's coming from. Again, he's writing to the Romans, and in Roman society, in the city of Rome at this time in history, again, it is the largest, metropolis, in known, in the known world, whatever it is. Not even the cities in China would have been larger than this during the dynasties, there. But it is this tremendous megalopolis. It has all kinds of things that it can offer, both good and not so good. And so Paul is writing kind of against all the not so goods. And because of that, he creates this terrible dichotomy between, body and soul, between spirit and body. And that's not what the gospel proclaims. It's not what Jesus ever proclaimed, because what that can do is lead us into sort of a terrible mistreatment of this body, to be able to release the soul from it, and to be shed of this mortal coil in this mortal body, whatever you have. Francis, unfortunately, he kind of felt that way at times, and again, while he was trying to get over it also, that was still a predominant thinking and understanding, just because, again, you looked at the world around him at his time, and a lot of the world's hearts and pains were caused by people and bodies. So it is this kind of necessity of understanding the gospel, understanding Paul, and of knowing that, in the midst of this, as Paul ends this, he says that on this part of the letter, he says that it is Jesus who helps the spirit to withstand, the body, and what the body calls us to do. That's not the case. It is Christ basically who helps us to understand the fullness of ourselves, as people who are redeemed and yet make mistakes, as people who are saved and yet need to come to the realization of that, as people whose lives, fall down constantly, but it only helps us to better know ourselves, to go forward into understanding God's purpose for us. In Luke's gospel, again, we are holding this whole time period of in this part of Luke's gospel about looking forward towards the second coming, and being vigilant for it and awaiting it. And Jesus basically just says, you can read the signs, the seasons, the stars and the skies and what's happening. Why can't you read the sign that is here before you in me? That I am opening up to you something new. I am giving you something new, something that is not consistent with what it is that you have lived with or have understood before. It is to react to that. It is to embrace that. And then he goes into this little a parable about a magistrate, and and wanting to and being brought before the magistrate, not to make that become the last end, but by trying to reconcile with those who differ from you, or who have caused you problems or caused you harm or whatever it is. You know what to do to save yourself in this world. Now know what to do so that salvation can be something that you live, that gives meaning to your life and allows you to see the life that is yet to come and the wonder and beauty of a God who makes all things new. A blessed day, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord give you his peace.